Hey, Shalom, welcome. This is Bakar Makapash from GMS London, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashar Chachwadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the whole elect, pushing his truth in all sincerity. Back again with another video. I'm going to entitle this one, The Lord Has Never Forgotten His Children. Alright, because, in this world, particularly Christians, those that believe in the replacement theology, supersessionism and all that kind of rubbish, right? They believe that the Most High cast away his people and now have replaced him with random people from the heathen to make up his nation of Israel. All right, but that goes against everything the Most High promised Abraham, all the promises that he made to Isaac and Jacob, and to the patriarch, the 12 tribes, right? That goes against everything that he said. So we know that can't be the case, and we know in the scriptures it's not the case. And so we're just going to go through a few scriptures, again showing that the Lord is returning his people unto himself, beginning with the elect. All right, he's not dealing with the other nations. The other nations can't replace Israel. Okay, they weren't made for that purpose, right? So we're just going to get into it. So I'm going to start here in Isaiah 49. I'm going to read from the top here. All right, it says verse 1. So listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken ye people from far. The Lord hath called me from the womb, from the bowels of my mother have he made mention of my name. And he have made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand have he hid me. Have made me a polished shaft. In his quiver have hid me. Have he hid me? And said unto me, Thou art my servant, O Israel, whom I will be glorified. Right? Israel is the Lord's chosen people. Okay, it has never changed. Yes, we've been rebellious children, right? But this is why all these parables, like the prodigal son, that's why they exist. It's talking about the return of a rebellious son, okay, which represents us, okay, coming back to the Lord, right? And when you read that parable, the father was happy for his return, right? He didn't forget about him. He didn't cast him away. Like, but we was rebellious, man. We was going off, and so we've been chastised. We've been punished. But when on the return, you return unto the Lord with, truth and sincerity, in penitence, praying for his forgiveness, the Lord will take us back. All right, and that's what that whole thing is about. All right, so he said, in us, in Israel, he will be glorified, right? Because Israel are meant to have the kingdom. Israel are meant to be ruling over the earth in righteousness. That's what he wanted to establish for Israel. That's what he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? We are the ones that bear the Most High's name. Right? And we're going to do that in perfection when Yahweh Shai returns. All right? So he's going to be glorified in us, not in the other nations, right? Then I said, I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for naught and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with the Lord, and my work with my power. So now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Right? The Lord doesn't want anybody else. He doesn't want these other nations, right? He wants his children. He wants Israel back to him, right? And this is what we're raised up to call onto. We're raised up to call onto Jacob, to search, to fish for the elect, right? How shall I sacrifice his life to save Israel, his people, as it tells you in Luke, right, chapter 1, right? It was to save his people, to bring them back to the Lord. Okay. It says to bring Jacob again to him, though Israel be not gathered, because currently we're scattered. We're all over the place. Okay, in the lands of our enemies. Okay, with in confusion, because we don't, for the most part, our people don't know who they are. Right, they're hearing this message from us, but they don't want to believe it. For the most part, so we're in a state of confusion and destruction. Destroyed. We're destroyed as a people. Okay. It says, though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my power shall be my strength. And he said, it is a light thing. He said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved Israel. Right? That's what he's the Most High's aim is to restore, to put back together. Right? Because we're scattered, we're broken. Okay. That this is the ambitions of the Lord, right? To restore Israel, not to make a new Israel, to pick up some next heathens and and make them a nation. No, it's to restore Israel, to bring back, is to go back, right? The Lord is going to bring us back together, right? To preserve the Israel, which is the elect, the remnant the Lord have left behind in Israel. Okay. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be salvation unto the end of the earth, right? And so when most people look at this word Gentile, they automatically assume that this is talking about other nations, right? Because without context, the word Gentile just means foreigner, or what's the other term? Ethnic group, right? But he got, without the context, if you just take the word by itself, there's no context to it. But we know that the Lord is bringing back his people. The foreigners are the Israelite foreigners. That's the context, right? That are scattered, right? That grew up in, under different customs, under different identities they grew up under, right? The Lord is bringing these Gentiles back, these Israelites that don't know they're Israelites, right? Because you have a contingency of Israel back then that knew they were Israelites, but you had a bunch of them that were scattered all over the place, in different kingdoms and different nations or whatever. You had the 10 tribes over the Americas. They weren't with the core of Israel. Let's put it like that. They were elsewhere. All right, and so they have to be gathered. Okay. I will also give thee light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, the Redeemer of Israel. Right? He's still the Redeemer of Israel. It's not the Redeemer of the whole world. Right? These Gentiles are Israelites that he's speaking about. Right? That's for the context. Right? Thus saith the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of the Lord that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee. Right? So everybody's fighting, for this salvation. That's not just, it's just not on offer to everybody. Everyone's looking for the Most High's mercy and affection or whatever, right? But it's not open to everybody. This is why he says here, the Holy One of Israel. That's who he is. That's one of the Most High's title. It's not Most High God or the Holy One of the world. He's not everybody's power. Yes, he is the power over all, but he is not, a power that is with these other nations. He's the power of Israel, right? And he said he will choose us. He will choose thee, right? Verse 8, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, in an acceptable time I have heard thee, right? Because we're still, kind of under punishment. But the Lord has given his word back to us, man. And this is the start. This is the start of the, of this resurrection, so to speak. Coming up out of our graves. This word being returned to us. Right? And this is how we're being restored, right? Yahweh Shai is, his spirit is working with us to bring us back into the knowledge of who we are. All right, and what the Most High requires of us. Okay. So now, we cry unto the Lord now for us to be delivered out of this wicked society that we're in, from our captivity, right? So it says, in an acceptable time I have heard thee, and in the day of salvation I have helped thee, and I will preserve thee, right? He's going to preserve his elect, right? Bring him through judgment day, right? And give thee for a covenant of the people to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritage, because Israel's heritage is destroyed, right? And so we have to go and restore all things. And this is why when you read Hebrews 8 and 8 and 10, right, it tells you, man, the Lord's going to make a new covenant with the house of Judah and the house of Israel. There's no one else included in that, right? Because we're being restored. Okay? We're the ones being restored, right? Verse 9, that thou mayest say to the prisoners, go forth, to them that are in darkness, shew yourselves. They shall feed in thy ways, and their pastures shall be in all high places. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them, for he have had mercy on them. So for he that have mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water he shall guide them. Right, this is the let. They're going to be guided to salvation, right? And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for the Lord have comforted his people. Right? The Lord's not going to comfort the other nations, because they're subject to his wrath, because they've harmed his people. They've oppressed his people. Right? So they're going to be the subject of wrath, not of salvation, not of comfort, right? For the Lord have comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion said, the Lord hath forsaken me, and my Lord hath forgotten me, right? And this is what the world is trying to convince you, right? That you're not Israelites, you're just Negroes, and if you want to be saved, you have to, follow, Esau's Jesus Christ, the so-called white man. That's and you got to love everybody. You got to forget all the evil and wickedness that we've done unto you, and forgive us, and then you can be saved, right? That's a crock of shit. They want us to not believe or know who we are. All right, to keep us downtrodden. Okay, so we're like, Lord's, he's really forgotten about us. Now we have to kind of deal through the so-called white man to receive salvation, and that's just not true. But Zion said, the Lord hath forsaken me, and my Lord hath forgotten me. The Lord hasn't forgotten us, right? You got vocab out here trying to replace, well, not just him obviously, but he didn't come up with the doctrine, but these men that believe in supersessionism, and that's like, oh, no, the Lord's just going to replace all the Israelites, because they were unruly, because they were wicked. The Lord's just going to replace you all, because they say it often, oh, the Jews rejected him, rejected the Lord Yahweh Shai. That's not true. Yeah, a lot of them did, but there were others that didn't. All the apostles, they were Jews, right? And they didn't reject the Lord. All right. So it's not genuine. It's not sincere in the statements that they make. Yeah, the Jews rejected him, and so he's looking to the other nations now. That's not what's going on. All right. Verse 15, right? It says, can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet I will not forget thee. The Lord will not forget about us, even though we have forgotten the Lord, because we have forgotten the Lord, right? And all these things are being brought back to us today, but we have forgotten. We've replaced the Lord with all these idols, with Jesus Christ and all this. They're not our powers, they're not our gods, man. Right? We have forgotten the Lord, but the Lord hasn't forgotten about us. Okay, we're just under we're just on the naughty step right now. If you know what I'm saying. You better stand in that corner, you better sit on that step. I ain't acknowledging you. I mean, the Lord's ignoring us, basically. Until the time is up. Right? But that time is ending. The time of our punishment is ending. Right? This is why we're being given back the truth. Right? Our salvation is near. We're about to come off that naughty step and be embraced by the Heavenly Father and His Son. Accepted back. So yeah, can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet I will not forget thee. Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. Thy walls are continually before me, right? So we're always in the Most High's mind, man. Okay, we're always with the Most High. We're a part of Him. Okay? So thy children shall make haste, thy destroyers, and they that make thee waste shall go forth with thee. Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together, and come to thee. As I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all as with an ornament, and bind them on thee as a bride doeth. For thy waste and thy desolate places and the land of thy destruction shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants, and they that swallowed thee up shall be far away. Right, the other nations, those that swallowed us up are the other nations. Right, the children which thou shalt have, and after thou hast lost the other, shall say again in thy ears, the place is too strait for me. Give place to me that I may dwell. Right, that's what I want from that. Right, so I just want to get to that point where it speaks about the mother. Can a mother forget the suckling youth man, the suckling child? Okay, which represents the Lord, right? Can he forget us? No, Lord has never forgotten us. All right, like I said, he just right now, we're living in a time of punishment, okay, that we have to deal with, and until we acknowledge our offense, acknowledge that we did wrong. Okay, once you've done that, then you can petition, the Lord petition on our behalf, but you can cry unto the Lord, man, and ask for His forgiveness. And the Lord will have you back. All right. This is Romans chapter 11, verse 1 says, I say then, have God cast away His people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God have not cast away His people, which He foreknew. Right? So that's just not the case. He hasn't forgotten about us. He hasn't cast us away. He's ignoring us, yeah, for sure, and giving us into the hand of our enemies as part of the punishment. But He hasn't forgotten about us. There's a time, we read it right? There's a time the Lord's going to have us, man, in an acceptable time. Okay? Until then, we got to sit on that naughty step, man. We got to sit amongst all these other nations and suffer the persecution, man. Suffer the oppression. Suffer the punishment, So God have not cast away His people, which He foreknew. What the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, right? That's the point on that. This is Isaiah 14, verse 1. So, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. Right? He's not choosing nobody else. He's choosing Israel. He's going to have mercy on the sons of Jacob. Right? And set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Israel. Again, these strangers are those that are scattered. Right? Because the bulk of our people are in the land of America. All right, but you got those that are scattered all over the earth. In all these remote different types of places, man. And they're all gonna be joined together. All the tribes from everywhere. Right? And so we're gonna become one house again, right? And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives. Who are these people? These are the enemies. These are the other nations, the heathen. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. All right? So again, the Lord is choosing Israel. He's not choosing nobody else. The Lord's got plans for us, man. Always have done. His plan, his intention isn't for the other nations to continue ruling over his people. That's not the plan. It's John chapter 10, verse 16. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also must I bring. Right? So like I said, there was a group, a bulk, a collective of Jews in Jerusalem that understood and knew that they were Israelites. Okay, followed the customs, loosely, a lot of them loosely. But they were there, right? And then you had those Israelites that were scattered into all these other nations, okay, that weren't growing up under these customs, that weren't growing up in that knowledge, with that identity. All right. So again, we've all become those Gentiles in this modern era, because we all discontinued from our heritage. There was not one of us that remembered that we were the Israelites, and that this is our book, and there wasn't that. Okay, we had no prophets, no nothing going on back then. Okay, but in this time, okay, this knowledge, this understanding is being brought back to us. right? So we've all become these Gentiles that this word applies to. Okay, this is so I have other sheep which I have, and other sheep I have which are not of this fold. Remember the 10 tribes all over the Americas as well. It's just we was all over the place, man, right? And they were completely lost over there. So which are not of this fold, them also must I bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Okay, that's that one house which you're reading back in Isaiah, right? We shall cleave, the strangers shall cleave to them. Okay, so this is who is talking about, right? So uh, James 1:1. James, the servant of the Messiah and of the Lord Yahushua Mahashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Okay, 12 tribes were all over the place, right? But this is who the target was, who this word was being sent out to. Okay, same thing we're doing today. Okay, it's not an everybody message. Okay, it's Revelation chapter 7. I'm start from verse 2, right? And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having sealed the living power, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants, which we read earlier was the Israelites. Israel is the servant, right? So we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. Okay? So we're all waiting for the elect to wake up, man, for the Lord to bring the judgment. Okay? And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Right? These are the children of Israel, like by blood. That the Lord spoke about, restoring, the remnant that he shall leave. This is them. Right? And you read 12,000 from each tribe, you read on down, right? These are them. Right? But then you got the other multitude behind them. Okay, because these 12,000 from each tribe just represents the government, right? The heads, pretty much, right? And it says, verse 13, it says, "And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." So, like, I should have read verse 9 first. So after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, kindreds, and peoples and tongues. Right? Because again, there's a group of us today that is in the Americas for the most part. Right? That's where the bulk. That's where majority of Israel is right now. But then you got the whole bunch of us that are scattered around the whole earth. All right. So it says, which no man could number, of all nations, kindreds, peoples, and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Right? These are the Israelites that are taken out from the rest of the earth. Okay. Jumping back down to verse 14, and he said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light light on them anymore. Light on them, not any heat. Slakia. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and God shall wipe away all tears from thy eyes. Right, which is something that he promised to Jacob. Right, because being in the hand of our enemies, obviously we're being persecuted, so we're in a sad and messed up state. That this is part. These are all part of the curses that the Lord's going to save us from. Right, again, not something these other nations were under. And this is Baruch chapter 4, verse 27. Let me read up. I'm going to read from verse 24, right? It says, like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity, so shall they shortly see your salvation from my power, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from the Most High. Right? So like I said, we're in that naughty steps and we have to endure that until the time is up. Right? For thine enemy have persecuted thee. Right? The enemies that we've been scattered among have persecuted us. This is why, people are downtrodden, they're through, they're depressed, they're in pain, they're suffering. And that's why, the Lord's going to wipe the tears from our eyes, man. Because the Lord's going to, give us the kingdom. But shortly thou shalt see his destruction. So our expectation is that our enemies, the other nations, are going to be destroyed and subdued. All right? And shall tread upon his neck. My delicate ones have gone rough ways and were taken away as a flock caught of the enemies. Be of good comfort, O my children, again, the children of Israel, right? And cry unto God, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. Right? Because he hasn't forgotten about us. He's just waiting for us to acknowledge our offense. That's all it is. Right? It says, as verse 28, for as it was your mind to go astray from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. For he that have brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation. Okay, the kingdom. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee and rejoice at thy fall. Right? Those that we're going to read it. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons, right? Because we're not servants to you nations. Okay, we're not the same as you people. Right? We're not made to be servants unto you, man. It's supposed to be the other way around. Because the Most High made Israel above all people on the face of the earth. Right? You're meant to serve us, man. So what you're doing right now is a violation. Regardless of the fact the Most High put us into your hands, man. So what you're doing is a violation. And so you have to punish for that. All right. So miserable are the cities which thy children served. Well, it would have said son here, right? Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. For I will take away the rejoicing of a great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. Fire shall come upon her from the everlasting long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. Okay, he's speaking about the land of America, Babylon the Great. So that's what's going to happen to it, right? It's going to be turned into a lake of fire. So, O Jerusalem, look about thee toward the east, and behold the joy that cometh unto thee from God. Lo, thy sons come, whom thou sendest away, who thou scatterest, right? They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of God. Right? So it shows you the Lord has not forgotten about us, man. The whole purpose of him sending Yahushua was to retrieve his people, beginning with the elect. This is who this word's for. And I'm going to end it with Baruch chapter 5, verse 1. Baruch chapter 5, right? Starting from verse 1. It says, put off, O Jerusalem, the garment of mourning. Okay, that those tears, the sadness, right? And affliction, and put on the comeliness of the glory, because he said it would be glorified in us, right? That cometh from God forever, everlasting glory. Okay, that kingdom is for us to live in, to rule in, under Yahushua. Cast about thee a double garment of the righteousness which cometh from God, and set what's the righteousness? Him keeping his promise, the promise that he made to us and our forefathers. That's the righteousness, and this is why it can't be disannulled. You heathens are, coming up with all these fucking stupid doctrines and stuff like that to try and usurp what the Most High has said and what he's promised, man. You're trying to get the kingdom and it don't even belong to you, man. So God will shew the brightness unto every country under heaven. Why? Because Israelites are in every country. Israel's going to come out of every country, every place, every part of the world, man. Because we've been scattered in it. For thy name shall be called of God forever. Whose name? Jerusalem, Israel. Right? The peace of righteousness and the glory of God's worship. Arise, O Jerusalem, and stand on high, and look about thee toward the east, and behold, thy children gather from the west unto the east by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the remembrance of God, because we're being reminded. Okay? We've been reminded. For they departed from thee on foot, and were led away of their enemies, but God bringeth them in unto the exalted with glory, as the children of the kingdom. The Israelites are the children of the kingdom. All right? For God hath appointed that every high hill and banks of long continuance shall be cast down, and valleys filled up, to make even the ground, that Israel may go safely in the glory of God. Right? Moreover, even the woods and every sweet smelling tree shall overshadow Israel by the commandment of the Most High. For God shall lead Israel with joy in the light of his glory, with the mercy and righteousness that cometh from him. All right. So, like I said, man, the Lord's never forgot his people. The Lord's never replaced his people. The Lord's made it. It's done everything, possible so that we could return unto him and serve him in perfection, in righteousness. This is the whole point of Yahushua and his sacrifice, so that we could do that. That we can serve him in the kingdom without fear. That we can be perfect service unto him, man, and that the Most High can fulfill his promise that he made to our forefathers. All right, so that Christian nonsense is just that. It's just nonsense. Some bug ass doctrine that Esau pulled out of his ass to convince you that he can be saved. All right, but I'm gonna end it there. And Lord, when this is edifying and prove the point was shown. And I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.